32 hours, 30 minutes, and exactly 0 seconds. That was how long you can watch 15 Illumination movies in one sitting. And that is the dumbass thing I decided to do. So I decided to watch all of the Illumination movies, from the first one all the way to the fourth Despicable Me movie. So basically, this wasn't until 2007 when Illumination was founded, and they wouldn't be making movies until 2010, a decade later. So here are the rules. We're gonna use a wheel spinner, and it's gonna randomly choose a Illumination movie, and I'm gonna rank it and basically just talk about it. And it's all coming from my opinion, by the way. Alright, so Migration released back in 2023 of December, and I have not gotten the balls to watch it until just recently. Basically, the plot of the story is just your generic road trip, but like ducks. The plot of the movie is basically that there's this duck family that wants to go out, but the dad says that they can't because it's really too dangerous outside. Yeah, just take a wild guess what kind of movie this is gonna be. So anyway, the mom is very supportive and says that they can go out because they haven't really been out in a long time. But because of the dad's rules, they're not supposed to go out because of the danger. But they still go out anyway. And they get into a lot of mishaps and meet some Spanish bird, and they just go off. There's also a supposed villain in the movie, which is this guy who can really just cook duck. But I don't really know a lot to say about this movie. It's kind of mid. I mean, this was made back in 2013. I can see a lot of people enjoying it. But it's just another bland and unforgettable and also unoriginal from Illumination. Alright, so the newest installment in the Despicable Me franchise is the Despicable Me 4. And it's also one of the weakest, but also one of the funniest, and also, in my defense, a tad bit better than Despicable Me 3. I will say, though, the point with the new baby and Gru just becoming a new, better father for the kid, the minions getting more screen time as they shouldn't even used to be. Yeah, it's just a scene with the Mega Minions that just kind of pissed me off because it's not even point to the story, it's just filler. This is another problem in the Despicable Me franchise, where it's just always filler when it's not even needed. But the actual plot with Gru breaking in with some other kid named Poppy, which is actually pretty interesting, like a heist. I thought that was actually pretty funny. But that's all I really could say about it. If I had to say, if this was made after Despicable Me 3, I would have understand it. But given that the choice they decided to make it earlier, I can kind of see why they didn't do as well. But to the people who even liked it, I do support you for it. Oh yeah, the moment we talk about Despicable Me 3, we talk about Despicable Me 3. So the plot of the movie goes like this. Basically, Gru and Lucy fail to catch an evil 80s supervillain named Brad, who's the voice actor from Matt Stone or Trey Parker from the creators of South Park, by the way. Basically, he's an old 80s villain who used to be really popular and had his own TV show, but he slowly declined. Well, it was a good concept, but it was just a bad execution because I really liked the beginning of it, but now it was just really bad. Anyway, so Gru and Lucy get fired, and now they just need to get a better job to at least defeat Brad. And also, there's just way too much filler. There is a part in the movie where Gru finds out that he has a twin brother named Drew, and Drew is very rich because their old father used to be an old superhero before he passed away. Well, that's not even the bad part. The bad part is that there's another filler scene with the Minions. Now look, I have an issue with the Minions. Yeah, they're supposed to be there for marketing, Yes, they're the mascot Illumination. And yes, they're just the brain rots. But can we just talk about why the hell the minions get their own scenes? Why do we even need the minions in this one? I mean, yeah, the whole point of the minions is just there, just for filler. But it just goes on way too much. Like in this one, they basically quit and just stop working for Gru, and then they do something, and then they just go to jail, and then they just think about it, and like, oh, you know what? I don't think we should have been doing that. So then they just go back to Gru, or that's what we thought. But in the post credits, they actually work with Drew, but we don't see them actually. We just see them in the fourth movie for no goddamn reason. It just doesn't make any sense at all. So, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I have never really seen Minions as a good movie entirely. The whole point of the movie is basically a prequel before Despicable Me even happened. So in the Minions and how they were before they met Gru, Lucy, and the other characters in Despicable Me, before they were looking for bosses, while it was very, very easy, it was also pretty hard to just let the boss stay with them. Eventually, three minions, Stuart, Bob, and Kevin, decided to go find a villain named Scarlet Overkill, who was at the International Villain Con, a big villain con for villains. And eventually, they decided to go to Orlando for it, since Scarlet is at Orlando. And okay, I haven't really been paying attention for the whole movie, but I did hear that they did go to England. That Scarlet Overkill wanted to get the crown from Queen Elizabeth, but well, no reason why. And because if they don't do it, then they're just titled backstabbers. There's not really a big point to it. There's a big chase scene with the minions and Queen Elizabeth, which is so fucking dumb. I kind of just feel like it was out of place. And also the minions getting legit powers and mechanics by just random stuff. And also the scene where Kevin just turns big because Scarlet Overkill kidnapped Bob and Stuart, and in order to save them, he has to go find them. So he just decides to turn big and just, well, defeat them. I sound really tired, because I am, because I've been watching all these Illumination movies, and none of them were good. But in the end, I feel like this was at least mid. This is one of the most forgettable movies ever in Illumination history. You'd think that the first sequel ever pitched was not that good enough and they would just stop making it, but no, they decided to make a sequel anyway. The plot of this one is basically Duke and Max, aka the ripoff Buzz and Woody, are basically going on a field trip with their owners. They meet some other animals, and okay, there's some subplots in there I'm not gonna get into. I haven't seen the movie ever since 2019 when it first premiered. And then it premiered on Tubi, which I did rewatch, but I didn't even get the joy that it was just funny at all. But I will say this, there's a lot more story development and more just overall setting than the very first movie. And that's what I kind of like about it. Also, what I don't like about it is that the subplots. The subplots mean nothing to the story. The main story is Max and Duke going on a vacation, but the other subplots mean Snowball, aka the Kevin Hart bunny, being a superhero and just trying to save some white black striped tiger. That's pretty much it. Now we start with Despicable Me. And finally, the very first movie on this list after Migration and fucking Minions out of all movies. So the plot of the movie goes like this. We start with our main character, Gru, who is voiced by Steve Carell. Basically, he's a supervillain who is supposedly this big villain, until one day somebody stole the Egypt pyramids and replaced them with little hot air balloon kind of thingies. And now Gru's upset and he tries to do something really big that nobody else does. Try to steal the moon. But he needs a shrinkway and the money to at least build a rocket to get to the moon. And also he has some competition. Basically, the person who stole the pyramid and just replaced it with the balloons and just basically make Gru go on this big rampage and just being popular was Vector, a young villain at the time, who's also the make of Evil's father. But son, okay, I haven't really watched it. But anyway, he gets another idea to three orphan girls, Agnes, Edith, and Margot, were basically just orphan girls. And yeah, I can kind of understand why. But the whole other plot is just filled with Gru liking the kids and realizing him being bad is not good. Yeah, okay, I see that. But that's what made it popular. Then Dr. Nafario gets mad at Gru and alerts him that he has at least 12 days, and they've been waiting for years. 4 years on this mission to steal the moon. So, even with this loss of focus, he still has to just give up the three girls. Eventually, Vector takes them in and decides to just kidnapping them, and then Gru has a change of heart. After stealing the moon, he was originally going to go to a dance recital, but they weren't there. Oh no. And then, long story short, it's just about just Gru saving the girls. And that's really just the big point of the movie. What an insane movie, though. I kind of did enjoy it. There's not a lot of parts that I didn't enjoy, like the whole thing with the carnival, with the kids. And also the montage with just them building the rocket and all that. But I can still say that it's a pretty good movie nonetheless. I would have said that if I haven't seen this, it would have been like a 6 out of 10. But I'm actually glad I actually got to see this movie. Okay, Minions Rise of Gru is pretty goddamn good. No, I'm not saying that because of the memes where basically people just dress up in suits and watch the Minion movie. I actually decided to go see it myself with a family of mine. And by family, I mean at a job. And basically just watching this movie, even though it just really felt like 10 minutes to me. The main plot of the movie is that this is another prequel to Minions after, well, the events of the first Minions movie. Basically, Gru adopts the Minions and now they're his minions. Jesus, it means a lot. He wants to be a hero in the Versus 6, which is an old superhero team, which they just already lost a member. So yeah, after being humiliated and fun off, he decides to go just have a blast. This isn't even remotely to the story, but I just want to talk about it. 3 days later, he gets accepted to be the Versus 6 next member, even though they don't even know he's just a kid and just with crazy ass dreams. Eventually, it goes wrong, and he just fires at the minions, and then he gets kidnapped. But we'll get into that later. So basically, because he gets kidnapped, the minions have to go and save Gru. Yes, this is another thing where they just have to go save the leader, and then Gru would just understand that what they did was a mistake. Anyway, did I also tell you that the actual guy who was removed was Uganda Knuckles, a old villain, by the way. His teams up with Gru to go get money, I'm guessing. I wasn't really paying attention to the movie. Also, the Versus 6 find a big green emerald ring thingy, which basically controls something or anything. I haven't really paid attention in the movie, so I'm sorry if it just sounds bad. But from what I've seen, they turn into animals. Uganda Knuckles comes and rescues the day. He fakes his death, yada yada yada, and then boom. I really do feel like this is a pretty good movie. Sure, it felt like 10 minutes to me, but I still thought it was a pretty damn good movie. So, there is a animated live-action hybrid movie about the Easter Bunny. Yes, no joke, this is Illumination Top, which is basically... Okay, well, actually, I don't really know the plot to it. I'm gonna be really honest. I fell asleep during this movie. It was really boring, but I had to stay awake to see a little bit of the important ones. Basically, the main character was this Australian Easter Bunny, doesn't want to be the actual Easter Bunny, and wants to be a drummer. And there's this Hispanic chick who really wants to be the Easter Bunny, but can't because it's supposed to be a chicken. Just go watch the movie yourself, but fair warning, it's not gonna be good. Pop is just a really bad Easter Bunny. And it wasn't even uploaded on Easter. It was uploaded 2011 of the 1st of April. Probably just an April Fool's joke. But if you want to watch the Easter movie, just go watch It's the Easter Week with Charlie Brown. This is better. Now we got one of the greatest and better sequels from Illumination, Despicable Me 2. Once again, Steve Carell is back in this one, Pharrell Williams is back there making the music, and Sheila Green is in this one. This was really good. The main point of the movie is that after the events of Despicable Me 1, Goose basically a good guy. And as a good guy, he's forced to be with the CIA. Basically a type of CIA kind of FIB kind of mission and all that. He's basically just there, but he has a really funny and cute coworker named Lucy. Lucy Van no, not Peanuts. Just Lucy. I'm really just gonna call her Lucy. Basically, she's just there for the rest of the movie. And also, there's these purple minions, basically me, by El Macho, and Dr. Nefario as they teamed up. Basically, supposed to be the minions, but like evil. I have not seen a lot of this movie. I just really just paid attention to the important parts. But just a heads up, basically, El Macho turns into the purple minion guys, and then he just gets defeated by a fart spray. Lucy and Gru gets married, even though they literally just fucking met and they never even dated. Which is really one of the most fastest weddings ever, by the way. And yeah, the minions say in YMCA because the movie needs to end funniest. But still, watching this movie, there's not a lot of funniness in it. But that's kind of what made it happy. I still think that this is a pretty good movie. A 10 out of 10 for me. Even if the minions are still annoying as hell, as they are now. I will be honest with you guys, the Mario movie was almost amazing. I really liked everything that this movie had. Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, Jack Black as Bowser. For some reason, Chris Pratt as Mario was entertaining and at least interesting. Well, before you say, oh, well, why not just get the original voice actor for Mario? You and I both know it will kind of get annoying after a few whiles. Anyway, the main plot is basically Mario and Luigi separate and they're into a different universe and dimension. So it's up to Mario to go find Luigi and save the world. He goes with Princess Peach and Toad to these magical kingdom adventure thingies. We get to see appearances like the Yoshis. We don't see Mario or Waluigi at all, sadly. But we do get to see Donkey Kong in them. And we also get to see Rainbow Road and Mario Kart. I really feel like this movie was almost perfect if it had at least Luigi tagging along. Luigi just getting separated from Mario is always used in mostly any Mario RPG I've probably ever played. But in my defense, this movie could have been almost perfect. It could have been the greatest 1 billion box office movie, which is also could have been the best video game movie adaptation, besides the Five Nights at Freddy's movie or the Sonic the Hedgehog movie franchise, or even the Minecraft movie. It could have, in my opinion, been the best movie out there. But sadly, the one thing that was not good was Luigi. I'm gonna be honest, Luigi should have just tagged along and Mario just shouldn't. I would say that both of them tagging along would have been funnier and amazing there. Also, Jack Black's song Pieces was really good and kind of emotional. I also actually especially like Jack Black in the movie. But still, Jack Black's performance didn't just make it the cut. Alright, so The Secret Life of Pets is a 2016 ripoff. The reason why I say ripoff is this is literally a modern version of Pixar's Toy Story. Don't believe me? Let me tell you the plot. The main plot of this movie is basically there's this dog named Max who gets jealous because his owner gets a new dog named Duke. A big, fat, brown dog. Anyway, I don't really have a lot to say about this one. This is literally the same thing as Toy Story. This is literally just the same thing, but there are dogs and, well, Toy Story is toys. I just don't like it in general. I don't really have a lot to say about it because I didn't even decide to watch it. But if you decided to watch Toy Story 1 and at least one funny animal video, then this is better and equivalent to just watching The Secret Life of Pets. This obviously was just bad on its own. Even getting a sequel, which was always gonna be just the most forgettable, but also still mediocre one as well. But the list is not over yet. Oh God, Sing 2. Where do I even begin with this one? So you remember in this first Sing movie where basically the whole plot is Buster Moon, aka the koala guy, is trying to raise at least $100,000 to at least get a big talent show going on or something to get his theater popular. Remember that? Well, let's go ahead and scratch it. It's just kind of just make it where he wants it to be popular again, even though we just did that. Hired the old voice actors and then the new ones, and then it's just a lot of stupid stuff. I feel like everybody was back in this one, which is pretty interesting. But the whole point of this one is basically they just go to a different city to just perform there. Why would I want to watch this sequel when I can just watch the very first one and just watch that one? Or better yet, there's other movies that has talent show related stuff in it. Other songs that are pretty good and way better than songs in this movie. I feel like Sing 2 is just the worst sequel out of Despicable Me 2, Minions 2, where you get it. I feel like Sing 2 would get just a 6 out of 10. Because if it at least had a lot of more depth in it, like besides the lion guy just not coming because his wife passed away or some shit, and then him actually begging himself to go because his wife would have done the same, would have been a little more interesting if it had a backstory, like pushed more. But I just don't really see it. But I will say, it's bad mid. But also to the point where I'd probably watch it on a good day. But either way, this movie is just really painful. Okay, now we get to one of the first Dr. Seuss adaptations on Illumination. Dr. Seuss The Lorax. So basically, this is just a adaptation of Dr. Seuss' book The Lorax. Basically, talking about the Lorax in the book and talking about how the reputation and the economic system using trees. Well, just watch the movie for yourself. The main plot of the movie is basically that there's this boy who really likes this girl, and the girl really likes a seed, but the company doesn't want the seed because it's a fucking company. The company is fucking bad, and he decides to go to this guy named the Onceler. The Onceler is basically this guy who is the old version of the backstory guy. You'll see what I'm talking about later. So, anyways, the whole point of it is basically he used to make these truffle hairs, but the Lorax decided to try to stop him and warn him, but all the money went inside of his head. And because of that, he lost everything. All his money, all his friends and fame and family. And he couldn't really do anything about it. After the backstory, the boy gets the seed. He gives the girl the seed. And then the guy who looks like Roger from the Long Haul movie, aka the whole old hair guy, decides to go take it down. And then there's this Let It Go or Let It Flow. I forgot the name of the song. But it's really a 7 out of 10 for me. I recommend watching this because of the memes that was back happening in 2023 when the Lorax was back on Netflix. I feel like it was a fun time, and I still really want this to still be alive. Alright, now we literally just talked about the Lorax. I think it's fitting if we talk about Dr. Seuss's The Grinch. So, I used to read How the Grinch Stole Christmas every single Christmas, and I kind of still do to this day. It's just a nostalgic memory to me. And even watching the Grinch movies, the old cartoon one created by Chuck Jones, the live action Jim Carrey one, and then in 2018 or 17, this came out. Dr. Seuss is just called The Grinch. Not really How the Grinch Stole Christmas, but you still get the idea. Basically, the main plot is just basically the book. The Grinch is this really angry green guy who hates Christmas because of the noise, and the who has and the who pudding. I'm just making references here. So, he decides to do the one most biggest thing that nobody else will ever do in this lifetime. Take away Christmas from the Who's. And also there's a subplot where there's this Cindy Lou Who who doesn't even just want to help the Grinch. She just wants to find Santa Claus. So basically, the Grinch makes this big sleigh, and he decides to go find and possibly kidnap a reindeer. His name is Fred, by the way. Kind of funny plot. So Max is before even the reindeer in this one. Fred is. So basically, Grinch doesn't have a good kind of heart, but he does kind of let Fred go half of the movie because his family comes back. But for the most time of the movie, he was just using them as a reindeer. But then when the actual one comes, don't worry, we get to that later. When the actual scene comes where the Grinch steals Christmas, we'll understand why he was just like this. So basically, all I'm saying is, this is a pretty good adaptation of the Grinch. Not as good standards though, but still really good. But I still want to say that the best scene, in my opinion, was him actually stealing Christmas. I feel like him dressing like a Santa Claus, and then just not okay. Well, the one thing I really like is like he wasn't even singing the actual song, but props to Tyler, the creator, for actually singing the good song for a Christmas kids movie. I feel like this is a 5 out of 10 for me, but we got one more movie. Finally, the recap. All of the movies I ranked. Here's Sing, the very first one. Now, before I even watched Sing 2, I had to watch Sing 1 on Netflix. And I feel like this one was a tad bit funnier and way better than the second one. So basically, in this one, the whole plot goes a little bit something like this. Out of the 7 characters, we got Buster Moon, who's this koala guy, by the way. So Buster Moon wants to get his theater popular because if he doesn't, it would just fall down and just shut down. So he decides to do a singing contest, and the winner gets $1,000. But sadly, after just making a typo, his assistant decides to put $100,000 instead of $1,000. And because Buster Moon is just a fucking idiot and a liar, he just lies his way through. But it bites him in the ass when the Stephen McFarlane guy, aka Peter Griffin, but as a mouse, with this Russian bear team, just figures it out. Yeah, and they just forgive him at the end. 9 out of 10 for me. I'm just really tired. I don't want to talk about this movie ever again. But thank you so much for listening to me talk about all 15 Illumination movies. And I will never make another one with the new Illumination movies.